Back here, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station, 215-204-9449 is the number if you want to call and hang with us. Let's go out to the phones right now as we welcome in ESPN college basketball analyst and former Virginia Tech head coach, my good friend Seth Greenberg. Seth, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
Life is good. Not as good as you, though, because you're larger than life. Long Island, Philly. No matter what the audience, you're ready to handle it.
Well, I don't get something that you said to me yesterday, and it's been keeping me up all night. You called me a legend, and then you also called me a legend today. Well, why am I a legend? I'm 18 years old, Coach.
Coach, you're 18 years old, and you pick up the phone, and everyone takes your call. You get them on the line. You talk hoop. You got pedigree. You're a legend. Come on. Hey, some people are comfortable in their own skin. You're just, a legend who's a legend. Fran Duffy is fortunate to have you following his owls.
I'll tell you this. I had to cancel Fran Duffy to get you on today.
That's a mistake, because that guy's a whole lot smarter than me. And you saw it yesterday, what a great job he did with his team, and he always does with his team. Dr. Fran Duffy, as I call him, he gets more out of his team and puts more guys in position to be successful than anyone in the country.
You put me in a little bit of a problem here, and you all know that you lost that bet to me when we made it of the Final Four and I beat you, and you sent me that Virginia Tech shirt. But now, since you're no longer there, I feel kind of weird wearing it. Should I still wear my Virginia Tech basketball shirt?
Zach, I'm going to put that up to you, but it just all depends on how many more times you want to have me on your show.
Well, to be honest, I think they didn't treat you right there at Virginia Tech, and I know you're not going to want to talk about this.
Correct.
Because everything that happened with SMU.
Talk about the Owls.
Well, one quick question before I get there. Would you ever consider coaching at the college level again?
I don't know. Right now, I'm very fortunate to have a terrific opportunity with ESPN and having a lot of fun with it. The people have been great, and had a great time with Jay Williams last night. I love the highlight of my man Jay Williams when he dropped 31 on Kentucky, slapping the floor like he was going to guard anyone anyway. Come on, he was in there to shoot the ball. But, I'm really fortunate to have the position I'm in right now, and you never say never, but right now I'm very comfortable what I'm doing.
And you've been phenomenal at ESPN. I watched all your coverage the other day, and I even read that article that Neil Best wrote about you since you are from Long Island, just like myself. What's been the toughest part about going from the bench into the announcing booth for one Seth Greenberg?
I just miss the players, the relationship with the players. I think that's the hardest thing. We really, really were close to our kids, and I took a lot of pride in helping guys get somewhere maybe they couldn't get themselves. So I think that's the hardest thing. And then the start of the season, the first practice, the first game. I miss that. But again, I've got a great opportunity to talk ball each and every day, and that's great. Like yesterday afternoon, while we're sitting in the social media hub at ESPN, and I'm sitting there talking to Flip Saunders about ball, and the two things it gave me a good understanding. One here, Flip, he's coached a world championship team, and yet he was also let go, and we were still having an opportunity to sit and visit and talk some ball.
We're talking to Seth Greenberg, and Seth, let's get to these Temple Owls right now. Scooty Randall comes off the knee injury from a year ago, and he drops a career high of 31 points. He looked impressive yesterday. Yeah,
Scooty Randall looked terrific, and again, you got to give a couple things. You got to give Fran and Scooty credit that he might have been able to come back last year, but I think he made a great decision, and more importantly, he comes back in the first game, and this is the magic of Fran Duffy, in my opinion. He puts guys in positions to play to their strengths. He puts guys in positions to do what they do well. He makes sure their guys, his players' roles are clearly defined. Let's face it, Scooty, his job is to score the ball, and he sure scored the ball yesterday against a very good Kent State team that a week before, a couple of days before, beat a very good Drexel team.
Khalif Wyatt, the player for Temple University, along with Scooty Randall, they're supposed to be the two big-time scorers for this team this year. 4 out of the 6 leading scorers from a year ago are no longer on this team. Khalif didn't have the best of games yesterday, but do you believe that Khalif and Scooty could pick up the slack for the guys that left this team?
Yeah, I think because the other pieces fit so well together. But yeah, Keith Wyatt is really good. He's a go-to scorer. He's a guy who can get a shot anytime he wants it. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's got toughness about him. You don't. One game doesn't define someone's career. I just like the pieces around him. I think that Anthony Lee and Reliever Jefferson and Jake O'Brien and and TJ DeLeo. Think about him coming in and just having the poise to do what he does well. And that's, again, I go back to the same thing, the magic of Dumpf, is that, DeLeo can't play for a lot of schools, but he can sure play for Fran Dunphy and be successful and help them win a lot of games because he puts them in position to advance the ball in about 9.5 seconds over the 10-second line, but he gets him into offense. He makes the right pass. He knocks down open shots. He's, understands his limitations defensively. And, again, it's just, to me, that's coaching. Coaching is not being married to a system. Coaching is adjusting your system and your core beliefs to the players that you have.
Khalif, he had an incident down in Atlantic City that almost everyone's aware about, what happened there. He got arrested, and he didn't end up facing a suspension or anything. But I was talking to him at Media Day, and he told me that he's most curious to see what the fans come up for him on the road. Is that something when you're going into a tough environment like a Kent State that you would pull a player aside and just tell him to keep his emotions in check?
Yeah, I mean, I think he understands that. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's a veteran. He's a man, and again, you got to be held accountable for your actions, but. I think that most schools and most student bodies will be respectful. I think once the ball goes up in the end, now there's some great rivalries, and again, you throw on top of that Temple leaving the A-10, to go to the Big East, so that might add a little fuel to the fire. But again, I think that right now he's got pretty thick skin. He understands he made a mistake. He's going to move on with his life, and he's got the right head coach to help him navigate that situation. But I think the guy's a terrific player. I really do. I think he just has a feel for how to play the game. I call him a city guard. Some people might call him a Philly guard. But, city guards just have an understanding of how to play the game, where their shots are coming from, how to get a shot, how to make other people better, and he has that ability.
You look at the point guard position for this team. That was one that was up for battle. Yesterday, Will Cummings started, but TJ DeLeo, in my opinion, outplayed Will Cummings, putting up 9 points and running the floor very effectively. Can you see TJ DeLeo overtaking Will Cummings here at this point guard battle?
I don't have to make that decision. That's up to Dumpf, and he'll make the right decision. I think more importantly, they've got to get 40 good minutes out of the point guard position. Whether, someone starts or doesn't start, plays, 30 minutes or plays 10 minutes, you have to play 40 minutes at the point guard position. And their 40 minutes at the point guard position, all right, need to be effective and efficient. Those guys don't have to win the game for them, but they've got to make sure they don't lose the game for them. And I think that's really important. Everyone gets so caught up in starting. I don't think that's about starting. I think it's about guys being productive, effective, understanding their roles, embracing their roles, championing their roles, and helping. Let's face it, that team is going to win just to make sure if they defend, which Dumpf's teams always defend, and if the right guys get the ball in the right spots. I like Jake O'Brien for this team, a guy who can stretch the defense and make some plays. But, I don't think it's about who starts. It's about just them getting 40 good minutes out of that position.
We're talking to Seth Greenberg. You look at the rookies on this team, DeCozy, Watson, and Dingle, and as you mentioned, this team has a lot of depth. It's going to be tough for these guys to get on the court. How do you bring across those rookies and keep them with the program when they're not getting that many minutes on the court? Because these are some talented kids they have off their bench. This team's going to be good for the future.
Yeah, I think, and again, it goes back to Coach Dunphy. I think he does a great job of getting guys to understand where they are, and I think DeCozy's a kid who's going to slide over eventually, and be a little bit like a Reynolds, and I think that that Dingle has got a chance to be a little bit like a Wyatt. So I think again we live in a society of instant gratification, and obviously players want to come in and they don't have both feet in a lot of times, but I think the one thing about Temple is and the way Coach has built this program, he gets guys to buy into being winning players and being part of a team. And I think he'll do that with those three young talented players. I think they're all going to be terrific players for the Owls, and I think the future's really bright. I mean, he's one thing about Coach Dumpf. He's going to recruit his type of guys. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He's going to recruit guys that are winning players that he can coach, that are going to continue to get better, that are going to buy into roles, that are going to be Philly tough and be winning players.
Yesterday, this team had a few turnovers. Is that a little bit concerning for you as a head coach, or is that just some early jitters for the first game of the season?
Turnovers always a concern for a coach. I mean, the whole, first thing you say, let's throw it to our guys. But, again, opening game, and you see a lot. I mean, you look at Michigan State, they turned it over an alarming rate in their game in Germany, and they got a little bit better last night. This time of the season, the defense, especially if you're more athletic than you are skilled, or if you're in a new role, or if, it's a new environment for you, the defense is usually a little ahead of the offense. Offense, timing isn't as good. Screening isn't as good. Guys aren't waiting as much for their screens, and you're going to make some turnovers. Now, if those things are happening in the middle of February, then it's an issue. But I don't expect that to happen with a Fran Duffy coach team.
The next 4 games for the Owls are Rice, Delaware, at Buffalo, and then home again against Wagner before they play Nova and Duke. As a coach, I'm just wondering, if you were in Dumphy's shoes, how do you keep those players focused? Because even as me, as a talk show host, it's very easy to look at that Villanova and Duke game already.
Well, that's a mistake, because Delaware just whacked Virginia, and they're going to New York City, for the NIT. So, I think that early in the season, it's easier. I'll tell you, it's harder when you get into the league and you're playing pretty well, and you've got a tough league game coming up, and you've got that Thursday night game where it should be a bop, and your guys are all looking forward to that Saturday game against Xavier. Not early in the season right now, you're still developing your team identity. You're trying to get a better feel for who you are as a team, what you need to do to be successful. So there's a lot of teaching going on. It's not as much worrying about the opponent as worrying about yourself. So I don't think that's an issue. I mean, this time of the year is you're guarding actions. You're not preparing just for games. And, I think that, again, Coach Duff, they do a great job of working on Temple Owl basketball, being good at what they do, playing to their strengths, staying true to their, core beliefs. And I think that's what will happen.
My callers, every time they call into this station, they want to hear, look at this Temple team. They want to see a win in the NCAA tournament. I know we're very, far away from that. Can you see this team making a little bit of a tournament run this year?
I mean, I think they're one of the teams that has a chance to get to the tournament, and once you get in the tournament, you have a chance to win. I like their pieces. They've got maturity. They've got some senior leadership. They've got some toughness, and they've got a terrific coach. So, I mean, they're a team that, could be in position, if they get into the tournament, to win. That Atlantic 10
it's tough.
It's a good league.
VCU looks good. St. Joe's looks good as well.
Yeah, now they had a little, they took a little bit of a hit, with VCU losing yesterday at home against Wichita State. But VCU's talented. Butler took a hit yesterday. Not being able to beat Xavier, but again, road game. It's going to take time for them to understand who they are. Also, I mean, you talk about Rodney Clark, who's a great 2 guard. They're going to slide over to the point. They got to figure out how they're going to get him his shots. So. There's a lot that goes into it, especially this time of the year. Everyone overreacts. The hardest thing, I think, that getting into league play, and Brad Stevens is going to go through. Like in years past, they would play a tough schedule. Butler, they'd get bopped a little bit, but they'd develop their core, identity, and then they could go into the Horizon and have some success. Now they're going into the A10. You get in this, a tailspin in that league, and you could get whacked and lose confidence, and that could be tough on a basketball team. So. Again, I think the league is really good. I think there's 6, 7 teams that legitimately have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament and advance, and Temple's one of those.
Zach Gelb here, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station, talking to Seth Greenberg. And Seth, let's go around the NCAA. A few more questions right before we let you run. Kentucky last night, they lost to Duke. Nerlens Noel, he did look good. What do you see out of this John Calipari team this year?
They're going to be good. It's just a matter of time. But are they going to be as good as they were when they won a national championship?
No.
Probably not. Different dynamic. They don't have the same guys coaching the locker room. I mean, a year ago they had 3 guys that were invested in the program that, basically explained Cal to the freshmen so that when Cal had some of those out-of-body experiences, he'd say, wait a second, just listen to what he's saying, not how he's saying it. And that's the way a team improves. So, those guys, Anthony Davis was a unique individual. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was a unique player. They're not playing with an NBA first-round choice at the point guard. So, again, I think they're going to be a very good team. I'm not sure they're going to be undefeated in their league. I'm not sure they're going to continue to win every game at home. But he's got to figure out the point guard position without a doubt. He's got to figure out how to get Julius Mays some shots. And then, defensively, I think they're going to improve as the season goes along.
Let's go to UCLA. Shabazz Muhammad, he's not going to be with them for the short term right now. We actually don't know when he's going to return. How do you like that UCLA team?
I'm not as high on UCLA as other people. Now, obviously, Kyle Anderson got hurt yesterday, and that's a concern. They do have I think their strength is the Ware twins. I think those two guys are mature, winning college basketball players. I think Lamb is a legitimate wing scorer. The question is, can Larry Drew orchestrate, run their basketball team, and get him into offense? Defend on the other side of the ball. That's a question. What does Shabazz mean to that basketball team? We don't know because we've not seen him play in a college game. He's a slashing, hard-playing, tough kid, but he still hasn't played. And I think it's to me it's an injustice that a concluding decision has not been made regarding this young man. I mean, I just think it's wrong. I mean, they've been investigating this kid for a year. And I really believe that they need to have some closure.
Before we let you go, you actually provided me some comical relief yesterday because when you gave
relief, anything I can do to help your freshman year in college, just feel free to give me a call, Zach. I appreciate that.
Well, I get out of a big test, and then I see that you made your Final Four predictions, and Twitter is killing you for even saying Gonzaga. We're in right now November. Who cares what the Final Four is going to be?
Well, they ask you to make a prediction. So what do you make a predictions? Isn't that what an analyst does? I mean, here's the great thing about that. I can change it.
Well, you were right, but everyone that's killing you is a dope.
Well, I don't know about it. First of all, I don't know if I'm right, but I think they have a chance. I mean, if you look at college basketball, how many teams in the country have a backcourt that can shoot the ball and stretch the defense like Gonzaga, a guy that can lock down, defend like Bell? Elias Harris is a veteran player that's going to end up with close to 2,000 points. He's their third or fourth best frontcourt player. You bring a kid like Hart off the bench, and then you've got three other frontcourt players. Kelly Olynyk didn't even play yet the other night against West Virginia, and they smacked West Virginia. So, again, they wanted an opinion. I gave them an opinion. Just because it isn't an opinion that someone would agree with. I mean, the St. Mary's fans are mad at me. The UCLA fans are mad at me. The bottom line is West Coast basketball right now, the best team in the West Coast, today. Now, I don't know about a month from now, but today the best team in the West Coast is Gonzaga.
I remember when I made my MLB prediction earlier in the year of Giants-Tigers to get to the World Series. I remember I had some fan call me up. Yes, I did. I did make that prediction.
Bob Costas is in big trouble.
And I remember some fan called me up and he said, "How do you pick the Giants to get to the World Series?"
Well,
and
that's a good thing, though, because someone was listening.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's always great when we have a listener, and that's why I bring you on, because you bump up our listenership.
I don't know about that. You're a legend, man. I'm telling you, you're unbelievable. 18 years old. You're taking over the world.
Seth, I appreciate the time. Let's get you on again real soon, my man.
All right, buddy.
Seth Greenberg right there. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after these short messages.